Welcome to the Kizzle and Stew show, or Stew and Kizzle, or Stizzle show. You know, whatever you want to work on. About Spider 20. You just recently did a video on Spiders 20.
All right. So Spider 20, it's interesting. It has a couple different strategies. I did a video on the negative affinity tank strategy, which basically just has you roll in with a force affinity hero that can AoE, put them in lifesteal gear,
Right.
and then basically the spiderlings attack them, and it keeps your team alive because the spiderlings just basically focus on the force affinity tank. It's you have to basically build up that force affinity tank to do just that, and I have to have an AoE and a lifesteal set.
Right.
It's one way to do it if you haven't gotten really lucky on certain champion roles. Not the most efficient way to do it, though.
Spiders 20 is hard. I mean, it really is legit hard. And I feel like a lot of stuff in this game is really hard and tailored to only for people who have really good legendary champions or the right setup for level 20 stuff. And you went over 3 ways to do it over there in Spiders 20, but even still, I feel like if you don't have those specific champions, you're kind of... Do you think there's a way for people to go in there with all rares and do Spiders 20?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I can put it to you like this. If somebody challenged me to do a video with Spider 20 with all rares, I would be like, oh, hell no.
Right. Not even try it, right?
No, I wouldn't even give it a shot. But what I did with the video was I went over the Ignatius or the AoE, over the HP burn AoE strategy. And then I went over the Martyr, which is now the Martyr and Valkyrie strategy, which basically is,
Right.
They're not going to be targeted since they're green affinity. And then you have, red affinity and the LS gear that, that AoEs. And then basically you're just nonstop AoEing yourself. Or I'm sorry, nonstop healing yourself through your AoEs.
Right.
And then I actually went through and did the harder of the 3 strategy. The toughest thing about that is my win rate was like probably 30-35%, something like that. So it was.
And you're using the top champs? You're using the top champs, right? Yeah. So that's my point. Like Spiders 20 just seems too overtuned, and it's a lot of things with almost all 20s in the game except for dragons. I think dragons seems pretty reasonable, but here with spiders, it's just either I don't know. I've seen people go in here. We've seen the cold hearts. We've seen the nuke the spider down teams. We've seen like you said, the affinity with counterattack where you need Martyr, you need Valkyrie, you need the counterattack, and the spiders are smart too. If counterattack drops off on the primary person, it can go to somebody else. It just seems way too hard tuned. I don't know how the normal player, the average player, is going to be able to do Spiders 20.
Yeah, I would go ahead and just say Spider 20 it's a paywall in its own way, right? And to be honest with you, it almost felt like it was going to be a paywall to me, and I have like a really good account, but I don't have Martyr, and I don't have Valkyrie, and I don't have Ignatius. Right. So I didn't know what to do with it. I tried that fight for weeks, and I leveled up maybe. I brought I think 3 heroes to 6-star that I just thought were going to be good for it, and I couldn't beat it until I found a guide on Reddit on how to do the negative affinity tank.
Right, and even still, then what your run is crazy long, right?
Yeah. So the run's longer. I'll put it to you like this: I don't use it to auto farm at all.
Right.
As soon as I got Arbiter, I was done. I quit. It's not an efficient team. It's just a way to get Arbiter. But to actually sit there and farm it and get 6-star accessories, I don't really have a team for that yet.
Well, that's it. I've seen people bring in Royal Guards, which I don't have. So I don't have a Royal Guard. They brought in multiple Royal Guards. They brought in multiple Cold Hearts, which I have her. I can do it that way. That's fine. I do have Battle. I do have Martyr. And if I can't, for me, the thing is, if I can't do a level 20 dungeon with Battle and Martyr, then how is the average person going to go in here and be able to take out this dungeon and be efficient, and nice for them? Because those are the players out there that want to come up and they want to do well. I feel like all their content recently has been geared towards specific champions, you know what I mean, in your team. And if you don't have those, that these people are pretty much, they're just out of luck.
No, I definitely agree. Specifically, I definitely agree when it comes to Spider 20. Spider 20 is a fight where you have to have Ignatius. There's very specific heroes. And one thing that is tough about this game is, getting this heroes is completely random.
Right.
The heaviest whale of whales might not have Martyr, might not have Valkyrie. I don't have either one.
Right.
So at that point, it does. I would say it's not bad. It forces us to be creative, but
it does force us to be creative if we can accomplish it, though. That's the problem. And I feel like here in Spiders, what do you think? What could we do to make it still? See, the problem I think that we have is if we make it easier, then it's not challenging at all for any kind of whales. But we need to make it accessible by everybody in the game. And to do that, I just don't know. I mean, she heals so much when she takes in her spiderlings. And then she also, with the spiders, the poisons and everything else, it does a lot of damage. So it's a DPS race, but you need to survive. And then she's healing herself. So I just don't know how to manage it to where...
Yeah, I think... So, for me, I think if you look at the Star Wars Galaxy Heroes model, right, and the way they do marquee heroes, and you kind of apply that to the end dungeons in its own way, right? So the marquee hero, you whale on it, it'll eventually be free to play, but it's pay to play in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not totally against it being so damn challenging right now, as long as we knew that in 30 days or 60 days or however long, they were going to drop a new champion, and that champion was going to make that fight easy mode. Right now, they haven't shown us that they have the competency to do that, or that they're willing to do that.
Right.
But that would completely change it. Then the whales can have fun sitting here, whaling out, min-maxing, going crazy, and then the fight. By the time everybody gets up to it, it's pretty accessible. That new hero, which should be a low barrier of entry and easier hero to get, should make that fight easy mode, and you walk right through it. And then the whales turn around; they want that damn hero because they want to do it faster and easier.
Right. That sounds nice. Yeah. How would they come out with it in this game, though? Is it fusion?
No, that's a really good point. I think you would have to make it a fusion. It would have to be a fusion champion, and it would have to be a fusion champion that's part. And it's an interesting thing. I don't really think that they want to do permanent fusions.
No, they didn't want to for the longest.
Yeah.
You there? Well, if we could make a change to the spider boss, do you think maybe lowering how much she heals herself or some other kind of feature like that would make it accessible for more people?
I think you should take the healing mechanic out of the fight completely. Because at the end of the day, losing to the spider boss isn't really a battle of attrition. Usually you get wiped pretty early, right? Because spiderlings hit hard.
Right.
And they drop poison, so... The fact that it heals is like insult to injury. It's weight. You could do so many different things with that. Maybe the spiders when she sucks them back up. Maybe she enrages and you have to just, and that's where you have to bring in a hero that has an offensive discipline. Something like that to me would make sense.
Right, and she does
versus like full.
That's perfect, and I'm glad you said that because I've always thought the same thing, that she shouldn't have this heal mechanic to do it, and I know that makes this battle easy for other people who bring in their cold hearts and just do a million damage to her and chunk her down. That's fine. It's supposed to be like that. You don't want to have these long drawn out battles, but really the main thing is I just want it accessible to other people and to a whole slew of different comps. So I think really getting rid of that heal mechanic would be really nice.
Yeah, I think that would be part of it, and I think what they would have to do is they would have to the dungeons themselves with the intent of having the dungeon being able to be kind of easily trump carded by a future hero. So if the trick of Spider, for instance, was that it had an enraged ability, you had to have an offensive dispel or something, then having an offensive dispel on the maybe that's something you have to have because you have to get it off right away. Some sort of mechanic like that. I'm sure there's other ways to do it.
Right.
But something like that they're intending to do it, from day one. And we all go crazy figuring out how to do it in the beginning, and then it becomes accessible to the entire player base by having the original mechanics that it has being trump carded by a pretty simple new hero that hopefully doesn't it could come in and be new meta for a period of time, but hopefully the game doesn't create a new meta with that new hero. They have to watch out for that part too.
Right.
It can't be like the crazy powerful hero.
Hey,
one thing.
I'm all for it. I hope they listen to us. I hope they hear our discussion here and want to make some changes to this, because making this available for everybody is definitely my number one goal in everything in this game. I want everybody to have a fair chance to be able to do all this 20 content and have a good time, you know, because even like I said, with Martyr and Bad L, I struggle on Spiders 20 sometimes. It's not. I need those specific champions to do really well. I need that Cold Heart. I need those Royal Guards. I don't have, you know, Ignatius, so you know, hopefully they'll listen to us.
Yeah, there's easy mode heroes in that fight, but I agree. I mean, it's a paywall right now, and it's a paywall for everyone. And if it makes anyone feel better, it's a paywall for the whales too. Because if you don't have Ignatius, you're not gonna be able to do that fight very easily. And I mean, it's shocking, because when you know folks that have those heroes, they cleared that fight so fast, and the rest of us, what? Like, you beat, which fighter did you beat again?
Struggling,
you beat like 17. Yeah.
Struggling so hard. All right, brother, that's good one. Oh shit, I think I'm cutting out.
No, I heard you just then, but I think you did cut out for a second.